Welcome everyone. Everyone get in here. Get in here. I don't care what else you were doing before this. Get in here right now. We have to talk about this game. We have to talk about this performance for the Leagues Cup, which once again left a lot to be desired. Let me turn this music down. I'm shot out like a cannon today. Because this is unacceptable. I mean, I don't know what I'm expecting. When we have an interim coach, when we have no DPs essentially on the field, we have Ronald Hernandez as the captain, we have Cohen in goal. I shouldn't necessarily be surprised. However, despite everything, I am surprised. It was DC United, a familiar foe that we have been hurt by, but then made corrections and were able to hurt later on. Should have been very similar this game. It was not. There was a lot of differences this game from previous encounters with them. This is I'll give the game what it deserves, and that is, it was an entertaining game. It was very fun to watch. As a neutral, I'm sure it was very entertaining. I just got done watching the Austin Pumas game, which was also very entertaining. So, Leagues Cup has been fun so far for the most part. But aside from the result for us, going to penalties once again haunts us. Lennon, once more in a penalty shootout, misses his chance. Bartosz Slisz, twice in a game, misses his penalty by shooting it basically down the middle of the goalie. Poorly taken penalties by 3 of our players this game. And I was making a comment when I was watching the penalty shootout to the Discord. It's frustrating. It seems like almost every team in MLS or League MX we go up against, we're always pretty good at penalties. They seem to always kind of easily make most of them. Maybe miss one or so. And we just are like, we're lucky if we get 4 or something like that, it feels like. It's a little frustrating for a professional soccer team to be so abysmal. And so throw in the towel, raise the white flag when we move out of extra time and into penalties. It's a frustrating result, but it isn't all doom and gloom. Our offense was bopping this game. It took them a while to wake up, but they were flying pretty high towards the end. We were really carving our way back into the game. DC didn't look like they were 100% in control as they did in the kind of more so in the first half, even though their scoreline definitely flattered them. They didn't really deserve 2 goals. We gave them 2 goals. It's almost as if we thought this game was going to be too easy. Here you go. Here's 2 pieces of charity. Let's make this interesting for the fans. And unfortunately, we miscalculated, and we didn't score 4 instead of 3 because of that penalty miss. So, it ends in a very disappointing fashion. Are we out of Leagues Cup? Not yet. But going up against Santos is not exactly encouraging, albeit them being one of the worst in League MX right now. So there's a potential there that we could beat them and things could fall our way. But yeah, it's overall it's a rough night, and we have to talk about it. So continuing on with that, I'm here with AJ, and we'll be getting to a guest or 2 tonight, and we want to hear from you guys in the chat. Please hit us up with some questions, concerns, because we know you have them. Because if you don't, you're not paying attention. All right, AJ, how are you doing? Welcome in. How was your commute back from the stadium? Was that better than the match?
Yeah, the commute was okay. It wasn't really that packed, so it was light work, really. Don Garber said before the match about how U.S. Open Cup, not really that well organized of a competition, and muted type of interest. Well, I mean, it's pretty muted interest here as well for Leagues Cup. Not a ton on a Friday night, especially when a lot of people were willfully, maybe unwillfully, opted into their season tickets. And so,
Did they announce the attendance today?
No, they didn't. It was probably around like 20, 25, somewhere in between there. A lot of empty seats. Like in my section, I was on an island. It was insane. But yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, I love paying over the odds for my tickets. Like, tickets weren't able to be given away tonight. People were trying to give them away for like $9, $10, and still there were plenty of those. Like, what stops me from just buying that if I wanted to go?
Yeah.
Buying that for just $9.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway,
I might be a season ticket holder next season without holding any tickets. I could just go to every game and just go a la carte.
Yeah. Exactly. It's insane.
It's like one of those, like, what is it? Is it like Travelocity or something like that? Where the one guy goes up to the other person who they're like, yeah, I bought this for like these tickets for like $300 or something. And he's like, oh, I got them for like $100. It's just that's what I'm going to be doing to everyone I show up to next to.
Yeah, it's essentially that. Like, it's way over the odds. Like, it's incredible. But anyway, on this match, I mean, it started off conspicuously. We absolutely were too sloppy in defense. I mean, it's just one of these things where, okay, I think what worked well for us against DC was a 3-man back line with wingbacks, and instead we kind of did the opposite a little bit. It wasn't necessarily because of that, but it did kind of. It's a thing where the defense didn't look like they knew exactly where each other needed to be, and there maybe wasn't enough cover for some of the moments. And yeah, it's also, I mean, Cohen, that's just a bad mistake. And then the second goal, he gets beat on the near post. That's egregious. That cannot happen. I think he should have been taken off in the first half, man. Like, it was that bad of a performance from Cohen.
There's an argument. There's an argument for that for sure. I heard people talking about that in the Discord as well. Yeah.
Yeah. He looked nervous on the ball. I mean, he really needed that last minute save in the first half. I think boost a little bit of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a horrendous performance for the most part. The third goal he couldn't have done anything about, but the first two, and it's one of these as well. Yeah, the goals were really well taken. Lennon's cross to Rios. That's that's what you expect from those two. In a sense, now that's like the lowest hanging fruit for goals. As far as Saba's goal, that's just crazy well hit, especially in traffic a little bit too.
That was Inter Miami Saba right there.
Yeah, it was, and he used that defense well to pretty much shield that ball, and the keeper couldn't do anything about it. So, yeah, plaudits all the way to Saba, and the celebration was for his wife, so it's heartwarming.
It wasn't for me. You sure? I thought it was for. Sorry.
And then, so the first half, it's like, okay, how many crossbars and posts were hit by DC? A lot. You mentioned that the scoreline flatters them. We give up a lot of chances. And frankly, it probably was deserved. They got the full head of steam, and it was one-way traffic for probably the first 15 minutes. Like it was a little bit dire for Atlanta United. We continued to grow into the match, and yeah, Rob Valentino did mention after the match that he was pissed. What can you do about these these sloppy goals that you give up? They're just mistakes. But I think there should be some plaudits for the team for fighting back, never giving up. Especially in the wake of essentially still not having any of our DPs. Essentially, I mean, yes, you have Stan Gregerson in this match, but it's just one of these things that's like, who remembers that he is a DP? There's people that are like, still thinking that Saba's a DP.
Yeah.
The casual fan.
It's just like we're just giving it around to everyone on the team. Everyone will get it at one point.
Right, exactly. Well, and then there's the chatter of Schleich possibly, by accounting wise, being the DP next season. There's a lot of people that are calling for his head tonight. It is a wonder because obviously they took some penalties in training, and it seems like Schleich was probably the best performing one. Otherwise, why did he take the first penalty?
Right.
So, obviously he performs really well in training penalties, but
he's crushed his one on the U.S. Open Cup.
He did, but yeah, it seemed like he was trying to be a little too cute. Just trying to. Yeah, it just really wasn't far in a corner. It wasn't really well struck. It's just way too easy, and yeah, I mean, not hit high is just like right.
Nerves got to him, man.
Yeah, and like on the rebound, he couldn't get it in either. So Rios, he came up for the second one that we won, the second penalty. I mean, Rios took his, but unfortunately, apparently he felt something in his hamstring or something like that, or his leg. Maybe not hamstring yet. We don't know fully. And he was able to hit his penalty, but had to be taken off right before the actual penalty shootout, which I think we needed him. But man, that's brutal. Like the guy that sunk your penalty earlier in the game is not able to play, for the penalty shootout. It's brutal. And I mean, by hook or by crook, the ref just was not going to give us some calls. I mean, it really took VAR intervention to, man, like, and it took a long time for those VAR like moments to get through.
Yeah.
So
the first one was so long.
Yeah, that one was 3 or 4 minutes, and how did we only have 5 minutes of stoppage in the first half? Just what? What kind of like timekeeping is that?
Yeah.
There were 5 goals. That first VAR took about 3 to 4 minutes. I count probably like 8 or 9 minutes. But I guess it's like round 5, whatever. And maybe that first half, maybe we didn't need 9 minutes. But the second half, I think there needed to be a little bit more time too. Especially with the VAR that, there were 2 penalty moments and only 5 minutes. I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea where he's.
Yeah.
How he's.
We said in the Discord, it had to be like anywhere between 7 minimum to like maybe 9 or so, and they're like 5, and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it just seems like it's a ref that just wants to get home. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's insane. But
Tyler Pilgrim just said Schleich feels real bad right now. He's apparently down bad right now. So, and as essentially you should, because you make mistakes like that, you should be like, damn, that's on me.
Yeah.
and it sucks. You sit with it, you internalize it, you assimilate it, and then you kind of get up, brush yourself off, and get back on it again. So, but yeah, just in the moment, that's tough.
Why, yeah, that's why therapy exists. He's gonna need it.
Yeah,
like he's gonna be talking to himself for a bit of time, and I hope he can find something, in the positivity in how he played, because I think he had otherwise a good game. I think he's a good player.
I mean, I don't think his game was very good tonight. But it wasn't. He's had much better games, let's just say. And that's not counting his penalty shots.
Right. I think the way he had to play out of position in this match, essentially, I think he had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Fortune was taken off for a reason, I think. Wasn't really doing too much. And I mean, Silva taking off at the half too. Interesting, because Silva wasn't doing too much. Pretty much, it took Saba switching over to his wing to make something happen. And it was interesting that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But so I mean, it's a couple players that I think underperformed. They were rightfully taken out. I think there were more that were underperformed than should have been taken out. Like I mentioned with Cohen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what was that first half? It's just, like you come out at home and you have to. I think it's a little bit this, the Leagues Cup song came on, and then we had to do the "We Ready," and then it was just like a long wait, and there was another set piece that we were going up for, essentially from kickoff. We had Rios on the right, we had Brooks Lennon on the right, and Saba as well at the halfway line. And DC noticed, they shifted over, and essentially were able to nullify that from the off. And I think it kind of threw us off, because it's just like this long ass wait for kickoff. And it's just like, all right,
mm-hmm.
Are we gonna get started or what? Like, the minutes already struck zero in the stadium for like 2 minutes already. Like, sometimes we wait too long in the stadium.
Yeah.
For all these theatrics and all that. It's just like, these players, think of the players sometimes too. Like, yes, I understand you have your little rituals and routines and stuff like that, but I mean, let's just get started.
Yeah. We're not Argentina, man. Come on. Just get out of the locker room.
Yeah.
So let me read some of these comments. We got a bunch here. No Name says he's first tonight in the chat, everybody. He just wanted to let everyone know he was the first one here to type something. So congratulations. And then he follows that up by saying, man, that was a crazy first day at Leagues Cup. Am I right, fellas? It was actually pretty crazy. YoPro20 says, great hype music. Thank you very much. One of our mods in our Discord. Thank you very much for the compliment on the music. Anu says, we're going to crash out again. That's my money. That's where my money is on.
It's a very real possibility, because the math, we basically have to win the next match. I mean, it's very much like that, because we only get 1 point for drawing the match. DC gets 2 for winning the penalty shootout. I mean, the main crux of it, I think, tonight is, and Leagues Cup in general probably, is that this isn't exactly quality football. Like, this is very much how many mistakes can you make, and then a banger here and there. But otherwise, it's not like this is beautiful football where it's like these beautifully choreographed, patterns of play.
This is, well, first of all, this is MLS. Like, you're not going to see a lot of beautifully choreographed patterns of play that much in this league. It's a little much to ask for.
Possibly, but I think there are teams that can do that here.
Yeah, from time to time. Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, let me read a couple more of these. No Names also says, I blame the 2 mistakes by Cohen and Lennon Is that just bad luck or lack of focus? Let me read a couple more and then we'll address some of these. Drew says, pain. No Name also says, missed penalty once, shame on me. Missed penalty shot twice, shame on you. T. Brian says, wow, we are really a bad team. Lorraine Lowe says, what did you think about the attendance? Lowest crowd I've ever seen. Adam Fennel says, Atlanta United F-ball club. T. Brian says, the mistakes are brutal, absolute killers. The more bewildering state justification for ticket pricing increase in 2025. YoPro 20 says second half was 100% better from all the players. No Name says the midfield didn't hold on to the ball at all to give the defense a better breather. Is that Valentino's ball? All out attack, full throttle. Dopamine says, as a season ticket founding member, my favorite benefit is paying 3 times the price for the same ticket randoms get on a match day. Yep. Adam Fennel also says, how about Bordeaux shutting down? Yeah, that was, Stian got out of that in a hurry.
Yeah. Let's stick on that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bordeaux, obviously now they're, I think, in the 3rd division, and they're relinquishing their professional status, and frankly, that's depressing. Obviously, not only for them, but I think just as a football fan, like that's just really sad that a team with that much like notoriety, I would say, like that's really, really like bad. And how you have that meme that's like delete club, they literally deleted their club. And I mean, I'm gonna be real, like MLS has had some teams fold. If Atlanta United doesn't get their shit together, there is a possibility. It's not high right now, but there is a possibility, because Arthur Blank is not going to own this team forever.
Ooh, I think that's a little down the line.
It's a little bit down the line, but you never know. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And if they spiral...
yeah, I mean, if you're perennial wooden spoon guys, yeah, that could be potentially a thing. Because it's like, what has gone wrong in a club that has a salary cap and you're just always at the bottom? That is a systematic problem. Yeah,
we're not San Jose Earthquakes yet, but it is.
Yeah.
Man.
Let me read it. Let's just finish out a couple more of these, and then we can get to Drew, who's been patiently waiting. Dopamine also says, I already read that one. No, he also says, yeah, if we are comparing ATL United with them to justify something, I think that should tell you all you need to know. I think perhaps you were talking about DC. Dopamine, just clarify that if I got it wrong. No Name also says, have faith, Atlanta will beat Santos, you will see. Someone with optimism left. I like that. Hopefully that remains, and hopefully that comes to pass. And then YoPro lastly says, last time we crashed out, we had a good run in the MLS season. So, hey, not the worst foreboding of all time. So, anyway, we are joined now with Drew. Drew, how you doing, bud? Welcome to the show. Hopefully, this this hasn't hurt you or destroyed you as much as maybe some of the other fans in the Discord have felt.
My anxiety was definitely really high, but being a hockey fan and dealing with the NHL playoffs, it's still not as high as that. So that's at least good.
That is fair. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's NHL playoffs are peak. Yeah, they're
awesome.
They're definitely one of the better playoff tournaments that just provides a ton of entertainment. So yeah, I agree. But how'd you find this match?
God, we were terrible to start. We were bad. We did not look like we were prepared for this game. We got dominated out of the gates. Yes, that was a horrific turnover by Cohen. That was a horrific play, and that's on him, and he needs to do better. That second goal should never have happened. That is a bad play by Lennon. That is him not reading the game well enough. That is a breakdown that it's inexcusable, and it's leading to a situation that I've started to notice with him is I think it's time for him to take a break. I would take him out of this Leagues Cup, however long it is, however far we go, and let him sit. Let him rest. Let him try to find his game again. Because...
I mean, he did get an assist.
Yes, and I think his delivery's been a little bit better the past couple games, but defensively, he's been a hindrance to us, and that's the one thing that he's always been very solid defensively. He's not the greatest, but he's been very solid and doesn't cost us games with his defensive. That's a mistake that
he's not an Andrew Gutman.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you got to think he's been going 90 minutes game in, game out for this team. It might just be time for a break for him. Give Amador a chance, put Hernandez on the other side, and work with that. We need to take a look at what Amador is going to be like. He had some good chances.
Imagine he scores that banger.
Oh,
imagine
he scores that banger. I'm jersey's on the way already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically it's like either on the volley or the one from distance.
Yeah.
The first one wasn't that far off.
No.
It was always tailing away, but it wasn't that far off. The second one, it's like, oh man, just under it, but way under it. But it's I like the bravery in the sense of like when you just come to a team, it's like you're not afraid to take shots.
Yep.
Okay.
This cynicism hasn't settled in yet.
Yeah, exactly. Your teammates haven't yelled at you like, "Hey, why'd you take that shot?"
Yeah.
Pass it to me. Yeah. I'm the striker. But it's. You made some great points. It's one of these things. Yeah, it's like Lennon, the header backwards. It's like naive defending. Just head it back to where it came from. Like,
he was out of position, right? I'm sure he tried to. Yeah. He ended up being too short because he wasn't back far enough.
Well, it was a little bit of this too, though. It's like his head position, like he was almost trying to head it backwards. Like, if you miss it, like if you're not tall enough, it would go straight up.
Yeah, right.
So, like the physics, like he was trying to pass it back to I think Cohen, but definitely he was too far, way too far from goal to get that to happen. And I think he also thought he had a teammate that was closer. Either way, it's just egregious defending, and just moment after moment in this match where those posts that were hit. There was the one chance, I think it was Gregerson as well, where he flailed at it, and then it was also Cohen in the area flailed at it, and it hit the top right post or maybe the crossbar. But either way, it's like that. So many wake-up calls, just one after another, and at least the second half was a little bit better defensively. But anyway, what else did you see, Drew?
Second half, we seemed like we woke up. We started with Jamal coming on and Fortune coming off, and then kind of switching to that back three. It seemed like we were able to play a lot better. We were able to control the game and hit on the counter a lot more. which favored us in this situation, with the speed of Jamal being able to get in behind and make those runs, which is good to see that we started taking the game in certain situations, and it ended up leading to first PK and then the second one. They were fast breaks, Jamal getting in behind, causing chaos. We looked like a good cohesive team at that point with a strategy to counteract DC. We sat a little deeper. They didn't get as many chances or not many clear-cut chances in that second half, which was very good to see. We had a couple late chances there that we should have buried. There was the late lofted cross by Lennon. If you go back and look, Saba is wide open in the center.
Yeah.
And Lennon just drifts it to the back.
The lob crosses were very frustrating to me to this game. I just just ping it around low and hard into the box and hope chaos goes your way. That's what I felt like we needed. Just didn't do that. Just kept lobbing it off and it just kept not doing anything.
And then you had the one chance that TRA got, just the cynical challenge there, or that was, you had two basically going in.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, you kind of froze for a hot second. Just finish the end of your last sentence.
Yeah, it just that TRA chance there where he got cut down. We would have had a really good chance there. Smart foul by DC. At this point, you kind of leave it up to chance then for penalties, and you see what happens. Schleich misses his second pen. Feel bad for the guy, but both his pens weren't good enough.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like there was another TRA chance where he could have headed it down, but he got under it, and kind of free header a little bit. And it's just we're not clinical when we need to be. When we can put away the match, it's just frustrating in that regard. But yeah, there's also, when TR comes on and he's playing striker, like it kind of neutered Rios a little bit, because essentially the whole two striker setup, Rios playing more on the right. Well, Rios, I feel like has a way better first touch, just has a better touch in general, and is able to link up the play a lot better. TRA, yeah, he does have the pace to run it behind. Obviously, he allowed us to, kind of get that penalty, play that 1-2 with Saba, and that's what it was. It's, being more direct after you soak up all the pressure, and essentially DC, they're a team that's very similar to us, where they don't want the ball, and if they can hit you on the counter, then they will. And it's just one of these things where I saw a comment, somebody was like, man, how did we do this? How did we lose against DC? They're like one of the worst teams in MLS. Newsflash, we are also one of the worst teams in MLS. Like, it's, yes, we have a pretty forgiving Eastern Conference somehow. Like, the Western Conference somehow is worse than the Eastern Conference, but yeah, it's just, I think it just speaks volumes to the top. Like, there is a cream, and it is rising rapidly, and the other teams are just, it's just, the mediocre or like just really bad is just like,
it's the haves and the have-nots. It's the people and the nobodies. Like, it's like, oh, who are in the top six? Everyone will like know those teams and care, and everyone else, who cares? It's no big deal.
And the rumor for like Antoine Griezmann possibly to LAFC, where they already have Hugo Lloris and also Olivier Giroud. Oh my god! Like, well, the whole French contingent.
I know. Yeah.
It's obviously
And
going to.
wait, hey guys, you have French contingent at home, and our French contingent at home is.
Yeah, our French contingent is Ligue 2, and I think that just speaks volumes. It's like, bruh, like it's miles of a difference. These are players that were the French national team, like
recent World Cup winners. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a huge difference. That's just levels of what we're dealing with. And so yeah, people that are maybe wanting Garth to cook and all that, he's gotta get way better players because it's miles different right now.
Yeah. I mean, my worry a bit, now that I think about it, is that Garth is like, I want to construct a team that can compete, that can try for the top 4 and perhaps land in it, but not ever win the championship. I think that that's kind of his target, because I think he recognizes when you have teams in the league like Miami and LAFC that are getting these types of players, that are making these teams. I mean, say what you want about MLS's retirement league and blah blah blah. These players are making these teams extraordinarily better than teams that just don't have this type of player. And so, if you don't go after those types of players, or those players just don't want to play at your club, because you say what you want about Atlanta, very few people in Europe and other places around the world know what Atlanta is. They know New York, they know LA, and they know Miami. And then to a lesser degree, they know like Toronto. But they don't really know Atlanta. I mean, to a degree, they know it a teeny bit because they fly through it all the time to go other places.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily are like, that's the place where we want to go and be at and stuff like that. Right. So we're competing with that whole thing. And Garth is probably realistically going, we're not going to be in Miami. We're not going to be at LA. We're not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to get this team to like top 4 placement, hopefully. And that will be like essentially the KPI, and we'll rest easy. We'll be happy, see that as a success.
I hope not, and it's also this. It's like, okay,
because there's no indication that he's going after those top tier players.
But they also have for Atlanta, there's a big hip hop community, and there's a lot of players that listen to a lot of hip hop, and I think that also is a selling point. But yeah, there is that fear that he's come from Seattle, and he maybe thinks that we're a similar market, and it's possibly that he's going to go with more of the type of player that doesn't necessarily pull up trees, but could be solid. Now that's the thing, like when you have a $50 million war chest, possibly teams know you have money, and so why not spend it in a big splash where you get well-known players.
Sure, but I mean that's the one part of the equation, is the willingness to go after them. The other part is them willing to come here, and you have to have both. Sure. And I don't know if the second part is there.
It's a domino. It's definitely a domino. You get buy-in from some good players, then it honestly probably would have been easier if Thiago Mato was still on this team.
Yes,
because you have somebody that people want to come play with. So yes, you have to figure out that part first. You have to have. I think you have to have a head coach. You have to have some sort of thing that draws players here, and I think it's possible. We've done it before to that degree of not having to go after the big name players, but I think that's where it is. Like MLS 3.0 has reverted back to MLS 2.0. with, DPs, and
it's just
okay.
we're getting even better DPs now. Like the 2.0 in the past was like, yeah, we'll get like the A tier of Europe, and that was good, but it wasn't necessarily going to guarantee you any silverware. Now it's like they're getting S tier, the top, the best of the best, and that pretty much looks like it's securing you that, you are at least in the running, like consistently. I mean, Gareth Bale and LAFC in the MLS Cup, Messi and their gang, they won Leagues Cup. Like it's a proven thing so far for at least 2 years. And this year we'll see if it does it again, and if it does, that's a pretty decent amount of data points to say maybe investing in that is the way to go if you want to win something when you have other teams in the league that are making themselves into these giant juggernauts like that.
Yeah, and obviously Columbus Crew, it's a different animal because they already had a very solid team with proven winners that they brought over, and when you bring in Gressel and Rossi in one window, it's really, really good. But also, it's that 20%, that Pareto rule, the 20% that the coach can help you exceed to. Well, that's where it is. It's like they've maximized their potential, and that's what we need to do. We need to actually find, those gems. Because they were able to poach Nancy from Montreal. Like, everyone saw in the first year what he was able to do with Montreal. It's like, and yet we hung on to Gonzalo Pineda. It's things like that. Or it's also, like LA Galaxy right now and their head coach. It's like, yes, he lost his way a little bit, Greg Vanney, but with Toronto, but still a very good head coach. Like, yes, you're trying to groom the guy Pineda into something, but I think we missed some very big names.
I mean, it would have been amazing if Pineda ended up being a success. Like, that would have been amazing story, but this wasn't the case.
Yeah. It's one of these cases where we need to be more ruthless as a club, and we're being far too gun shy, too passive. But anyway, yeah, Drew, you're about to say that.
I was going to say, we need to go out and try to get a big name, because one of the ways to put your name on the map is to go after a big name. Players, and another thing to help that is get a plan laid out. Players want to see they are coming into a situation that has something they're looking for, something where they are going to be in a winning culture or a winning mentality or a winning way. We don't have that right now, unfortunately. We don't have a coach. We don't know what players we're going to have by the end of the season. We don't know what we're going to look like at the beginning of next season. We don't have any path laid out to get to that winning way. And I think you can take a step forward by getting a big name. You can show, hey, we have this intent to get back to winning ways. Here's how we're going to show it, and we are going to continue doing that. And they can't just let this money sit around.
I mean,
they gotta use it.
To your point, I agree that should be right. Like, and I was thinking, like, well, what if there's like a roadmap of what we're gonna do to instill confidence in fans? And I remember hearing Garth kind of giving us one and saying, yeah, we're gonna spend like $10 million on a guy, and I'm like, $10 million? That's gonna win you MLS Cup as a striker or as a 10? Like, what kind of ambition is that?
Yeah, it's really just like, everyone knows that we have all this money in our coffers, so we have to spend it. It's like corporate stuff of like, the optics, making sure that, okay, well, we do have to check off these boxes because, it's like, with any company, it's like they have money that they have to spend. They have to write it off. It's like, okay, well, we're going to do it. But seemingly, it looks like without a real plan, but it also is this. Like, we have to make that signing for the season ticket holders to actually renew, because it very much is this. One of those, the selling points for any of the players that come is always how many fans are at the stadium. Like, there's nothing self-aggrandizing about it. Like, the players have said it themselves when they come here, and everyone in the front office always cites that too. So, it's not like we're like, we're the fans, we're hot shit. Like, it's just the reality. Like, they use that as a selling point.
Yeah.
But if that selling point disappears because, basically your product hasn't been good enough, and people don't have to go to the games. It's one of these things, like, it doesn't make you a bad fan because you don't go to the games. Like, you're still watching the game, you're supporting. But if you're withholding your money in an economy that you might have to, it's just, okay, again, I've said this in the past. If you have FU money, great for you.
Yeah.
Send it. Do whatever you want with it. But there's a lot of people that have to figure out, like, hey, okay, well, I can go a la carte to games and it's cheaper. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Like, and if I'm not having to force myself to, spin way over the odds, then okay, I won't. That's just, that's wisdom.
Yeah.
That's, I think from a monetary standpoint, that's like financial sense. That's probably encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
So if Atlanta United is encouraging us to essentially go broke.
I mean, hey, if you have an accountant and they're like, you have potential money troubles, and then you're like, and I'm also a season ticket holder, the accountant's probably going to be like, you know what I'm going to tell you, right? Anyway.
Exactly. And it's also right. Or it's also like, hey, you spent, X amount on LA United kids this past year. They come out with one every single month. It's like, it doesn't make you a better fan because you, like, yes, LA United sold you.
Yep.
They sold you on that product. Okay. But, I think people are wisening up, and it's just a matter of, like, okay, LA United, like, wake the F up.
Yeah. Let me read a couple of these comments while we're here. Emmanuel Gasper says, we don't have consistency. Agree. Because we can beat Columbus and then lose to DC. Is amazing. YoPro says, Lennon missed the ball. He didn't hit it backwards. Yeah, that was my read of it. I didn't think he tried to pass it backwards, but then again, who knows? I would have to look at it again to be definitive.
I didn't see the replay. I just saw in the game, or in the stadium, like, him going up for the ball. And
it just looks like, it felt like he just misjudged it. Like, he thought he could get up for it, and then he went, oh no, actually I can't, and I just gave the other team an assist. Dopamine says, Brooks was a little too aggressive on that play, and I got a bit too far forward from where the ball was and couldn't head it forward. Dopamine says, it was an accident and very unfortunate. Yeah, of course it was. Yopro says, TRA is the perfect chaos player on and off the ball. And No Name says, I think Chucky Lozano would have been a good fit for Atlanta, but San Diego scooped him up. That is a big name. It's a decently well-known name. I don't know if it would be a game changer for us, but it would make us, that would put us in top 4 conversation, like, if we were able to make a good team around a marquee player like that. But I don't think that player is going toe-to-toe with a stacked Miami or a on fire LAFC or something like that. That's just my opinion. And then
LA Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, LA Galaxy's got quite a few that like that 4 that they have. Yeah, Payne's still Wiki Pooge, and what's the other? There's the other 2 that are really, really good too. Jack Dickens says this team seems to love making individual errors leading to goals. I'm losing count. Yeah, it's like what Gonzo said. Individual blunders, individual errors. Like, what were you thinking when the news, like the reporters would ask him, like, what happened? He's just like, what am I supposed to do? Tell the guy not to do that? Like in practice, we don't go, hey, perhaps pass to the other team sometimes, So, what do you?
It's also there's defenders that naturally can sense the danger, and then there's defenders that don't. And I mean, both of those plays were pretty much like kick it out. That's why there is a part of me where it's like maybe Efrain Morales maybe should have played this match a little bit in a 3-man back line. And this is
you said what I was thinking here, because I saw the starting lineup and was like, why didn't we have Morales in the game? Because we go back to him versus Benteke in the last game. Benteke didn't get much of anything. Yeah.
He possibly. I mean, as much as a kid can, he kind of manhandled a little bit Benteke, because I mean he's a unit as well, and it's just like we played it much better in a 3-man back line against DC, albeit away, but still it's like he's a no nonsense, sense the danger, kick it out. I like that, especially in a team where we are prone for mistakes, and it's just like you need more of those type of players that there is a time that if you have the ball, if you're trying to like possess the ball and keep it away from the opposition when you're up, I get it, but it's just like the first 2 preventable, kick it out, like. Or it's also with Brooks, it's like more, instead of trying to go for the header, because his teammate wasn't really that close. He probably should have just let the DC player win that header and then win the second ball.
Yeah.
Because he's in the air, he has to come down, it's just gravity. And so at that point, go and win it and beat him off the ball, and then pass to your teammate or to the goalkeeper, and you're still you have the numbers. But instead it's like just not wise.
So one question for you guys. No Name asked earlier, and I said I would get back to it. So the midfield didn't hold on to the ball at all, and to give the defense a breather, is that Valentino ball? Is it all out attack and full throttle? What to you guys would you say is Valentino ball?
Well, at the moment, it's this.
We call it V-ball, volleyball.
V-ball. At the moment, it's this. It's being as direct as possible, and if you get the chance to counter, you absolutely try to go for it. There were a lot of, maybe errant forward passes, but you're trying stuff. And you're trying to make things happen when you have the ball, instead of recycling it and being super safe. So that I understand. I get why he's trying to do that, because it's almost the antithesis a little bit of what was not working and not getting results. But there is an aspect of it that we still need to possess the ball at times, so that if there are those moments that you absolutely need to pretty much like just calm it down a little bit. You need some calma. You need some pausa. Basically have those players that essentially keep it in the middle of the park for you a little bit, so that you can reorganize and essentially if you need to switch it to a wing and whichever, it's not all these players out of position, because essentially it's like you're trying to play so fast and so efficient that, you know, players are gonna be dragged out at times, and yeah, you won't have any options. Like, you need a player like in the past, Almada, like you know, Darlington Nagby, that basically can just slow down for you.
Yep.
So that, you know, you can just bring it back to, okay, catch your breath a little bit. But
And
how would you answer that, Drew?
I was gonna say, I completely agree. And going along where you ended, that's where I like what Valentino did with at the end of the game, pushing Saba into the middle and into that midfield. I'm interested in seeing him in that role. Can he be that sort of player that, hey, hold on to the ball for a little bit, kind of create in that pocket, and go from there? Yes, he's got the pace to be on that fast break and be that second or third attacker into the box. But he can also, we also know how creative he can and how well he can hold on to the ball and spray passes out. So I'm interested to see if he will use that again, because it's something that I've thought about in the past could work, but we've never seen it, so we never really knew.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, he was billed as a player that could play across, you know, the front line a little bit, and yeah, you know, that's a great point. When he popped up in the middle and he was running some things a little bit, a la, you know, Thiago Almada a bit. I think it was a good look. It allowed us maybe some different patterns of play that we've never really seen from the team. And yeah, my one thing was that, yeah, like Rios and Tiare, yeah, the redundancy a little bit, and then the just not allowing, like, Tiare being the focal point at that point was not the move. Like, it was a little too helter-skelter when we were kicking it long to him. Yes, the balls in behind were, I think, appropriate, but when he's trying to, you know, kind of combine with other players and really hold it up, it's just not his game. Like, it's his touch is too loose, and there were some moments where it was like that ball hit off of him so hard that it became a chance for DC to counter on us. It's like that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like that part, like that's where I'm like, okay, I think I've seen enough of Tiare to the degree that, like, okay, him coming on later as an energy guy, as a, you know, a guy who can maybe score a goal off the bench for you, maybe in a blowout. But if you're trying to get back into a game and win the game, I'm not so sure.
Yeah,
like that's
especially against like a low block or something. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, low block, that ain't happening.
Yeah,
like that. The ball's gonna ping so hard off him, it's gonna like get into midfield where it's just gonna be a forward pass.
Yeah, it's an outlet pass for the other team. Yeah. All right, so go for it.
Tiare basically played the Mascara role, that Mascara always comes in late game, runs as fast as he can, and then tries whatever he can.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and imagine, it's like, and we've had that before where Mascara and Tiare are both on the pitch. It's we should not have both of them on the pitch unless we, you know, just trying to kill some time. We're like 4-0 up. Okay, great, whatever. But again, there are some players that are meant for championship sides, and some players that are not. And
yeah.
But anyway.
Connor Watson says, "How's it going? How you going, Connor?" We're doing fairly well for having been dealt a very unfortunate defeat tonight against a team that. Do you guys think we should have beaten DC?
Yes.
This was the game that we had to win.
Yeah.
It was absolutely the game that we had to win. And you're at home. I mean, both of these are at home. And Yeah, like you don't win another penalty shootout.
Are we supposed to beat Santos?
No.
No? People
don't
are
think
talking
it's a
about they're like bottom of the table Liga MX. They're really struggling.
Yeah, that's the thing though. You know, the MLS All Stars versus Liga MX All Stars, and they're not even really in their season like that. You know, like they're kind of, you know, they do that apertura clausura thing, you know, and so it's like they're not like fully informed, but yet they slapped up the MLS All Stars 4-1. Yeah, I would say it's not a given that we should beat Santos even at home. Not in this form. Not if it goes to another penalty shootout. We don't win those at home.
No.
We've won them, you know, elsewhere, but we don't win them at the Benz.
We won them against a USL team. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That doesn't really count. And it was by like the skin in our teeth. So, I mean,
yeah. It's a second straight penalty shootout in the Leagues Cup that we have lost at home.
Yep.
Like, it just, you know, it's part of it. It's like part of it is the order of maybe some of the order, choice, also atmosphere in the stadium a little bit. I have to say, it's like I think we're far too loud on our own players when they're shooting. We need to be dead silent, and then
interesting.
Erupt.
Interesting.
And then incredibly loud when the opposition is trying to kick.
Yep.
So.
Hey, at least we're not smuggling in laser pointers to the game, so that's good.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, we're still banging drums and blowing whistles while our players are trying to kick. It's like, yeah, you know, I get you're trying to give them some energy, but it's like they just want to concentrate. Mm-hmm. Like it's not necessarily helping.
No Name says, yes, beat Santos. Come on, join me. What are we joining you with? Has your team beaten Santos? Yeah, follow that up for me. Yeah, so that's basically all the get your the rest of your comments and questions in, because we'll be finishing up here soon, because it is almost 12:30 on a Friday, and I have an early morning tomorrow, so we're not going to be here too much longer. So Drew, we'll just get your final thoughts, and then we'll send you on your way.
Tough loss. Hopefully we can get a bounce back. We need to. I want us to get out of this group stage. We need a little bit of success. We need a little bit of, hey, this team still has a little bit of something to it.
I mean, do we deserve it?
Yeah. With the mistakes we made, no, but. We take out the self-inflicted wounds, we should have beaten this team. We should have beaten DC easily.
Well, sorry, you can't, because it's a bundle deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the good with the bad, unfortunately, and yeah, it's just it's about even right now with the good and the bad, and sometimes it's the old adage. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. So you know, there it is. We were a little bit more shit tonight, just by the skin of our teeth. I don't know what these metaphors are anymore. It's they're getting a little nasty.
Non-English speakers are going to be very confused by the metaphors and idioms we're using.
Yeah, no, it's I just feel like they're getting a little like muddied because of yeah. But anyway, So either way, Drew, thank you so much as always. Pleasure. Have a good rest of your night.
Night.
See ya. All right, so let's just take a look. Yeah, guys, last call for comments or questions for us before we head out of here. It's a rough night. It's a bitter pill to swallow after coming off of such a kind of raucous win against a fairly hot team, you know, a cup contender team. You know, it instilled us with confidence for a minute. Like, wow, maybe we could, like Drew said, maybe there is a little magic left in that hat, right? But unfortunately, this game brought us back down to the harsh reality that there's a significant chance that this team is exactly what you think it is, and that it is a DP-less, leaderless, coachless team filled with mediocre players and knockoffs, from other leagues that perhaps weren't good enough there, or perhaps couldn't cut it, and then they're trying to find a new form somewhere else. We don't have any proven winners or people who are like, I definitely am going to turn this thing around by myself, or with an accompaniment of one or two players that can, band with me or something like that. There just doesn't seem to be that. So I don't share in the confidence and optimism that a lot of fans still perhaps do, even though that number may be dwindling. I think that this is going to be a team that is not going to accomplish anything, and it will get pretty much smashed for the rest of the season and in Leagues Cup. And even if it makes it to playoffs, which would, is very possible considering this is one of the most, easily gettable playoff spots you can in sports, I don't think that that's a sign of any good progress or anything good there. The teams that don't make it into MLS playoffs are god-awful. So, I don't exactly think we're going to... Sorry?
Cool boy. No, man, I'm just sorry to cut you off, but it's like, man, that was pretty harsh.
I don't think that. Yeah, I just don't think we have it this, and why should we? Right? I mean, we like the three reasons I just stated. We don't have any leaders, we don't have any DPs, and we don't have a coach. Why should we be beating good teams? Why should we be placing well? Why should we be in a conversation for trophies? There's just no real good reason for it. And if we did, it would be like, scoring against the run of play. So, I'm here for it if it happens, but I'm just talking balanced probability, not taking that bet. So, I think pretty much everyone in the front office has essentially concurred on that and went, yeah, this is punted season. We're going to kind of circle the wagons and come back next year with a more reinforced team, cut some dead weight, reinforce in those positions, and, restructure around the new DPs that we get to come in, and then have a new coach, and all of that together should put us back on at least a track to be relevant again. But, and again, this is still my worry, where is the ambition of the front office? Where is the ambition when you're talking about $10 million transfer fees for DPs? I don't know if that's going to cut it anymore in MLS to be someone who wants to, vie for trophies every year. I just don't know. Maybe it's possible. I mean, Seattle has found ways to do it in the past, but the thing is, this is a post-Messi era. Like, things are different now. So I think we need to pony up, and if we can get these big players, we should try. I don't know if we actually even can because of some of the reasons we stated earlier. So it just might be a foregone conclusion, but hopefully that's not the case. And hopefully we can really make a splash next season and turn things around, because my God, if Garth doesn't see this as a moment to shift momentum, if he's not talking with MLS itself to be like, let's bring in a massive player, you get half the, you come in with me to help buy him, or something. Let's get Adidas on board. Call up Nike. Like, let's do something. Get this massive player over here or something. Like, I don't know what we're doing if we're not looking at things like that. I mean, if we're not at that level, then we're not at that level.
Yeah, Inter Miami were able to do that, obviously, with Messi.
LAFC was able to do that to a degree, but not with, Adidas or Apple, but like with other things.
Right. And so it's one of these things, though. The big name player, I'm not necessarily concerned about big name. I'm concerned about the winning pedigree and how much they have left in the tank to actually do something in this league. I think that's the type of player that we need to go after. Not just like, you have the... What, you
don't want to bring over a big name and he just wins us the championship for a year and then leaves after 2 years? I would be cool with that.
I'm more of the ilk that, it's like, yes, if they help us win, absolutely. But there are, the other types of players that are big names, like Shaqiri, who is, big name, but isn't doing anything. Like it's a matter of, like, we really have to land on those players that we bring in as DPs. And yeah, I mean, it's just like
that's fair. I don't know if Shaqiri's in that conversation, but yeah, I mean, I get your point. Yeah. There are players like that could be game changers, but for whatever reason are not. Yeah,
big name. He's not helping DC do anything. Like, it's, yes, they beat us, but
yeah, anyone can beat us.
Yeah, exactly. Like right now, where they're at, it's basically this though. The problem is, so we're in a group with with the coefficient of teams that are not in the best place in the league that they're in, and essentially it makes it really where it's like pretty tough, because with the style of play that we play right now currently, and especially DC, it's like that's why we were able to beat the likes of Columbus Crew, the likes of Inter Miami, because we were able to smash and grab, and those are the types of teams that we actually can beat. But the teams that are around us that play similarly, that's where we struggle. Like, that's the when we have to possess the ball, it's just like I've said time and time again, we don't have the technicians, and we don't want it. Like, we want to play direct, but we have to have space. And if the team that we play against sits more than we do, well, then we're going to struggle. And so it largely is this. It's like, it's a game of pretty much in this, these knockout rounds. Like, it'll be interesting to see, how Santos Laguna are going to set up against us, especially at home. They know that we're probably going to have to keep the ball a little bit more than they will. So what's going to happen?
I mean, we let DC have slightly more of the possession this game. So, kind of, if we wanted less, we technically won that battle.
Well, in the sense that, it's like, I think the first half, they honestly were, they were just slapping us up a little bit.
I mean, what's Twellman and the commentators were talking about how, like, they're like, wow, DC United usually isn't, like, on the ball and playing like this, and they're really feeling themselves, and they are being that team, and it's impressive. And I was like, damn, he's right. It's annoying that a team that typically just sits back and gets slapped around by better teams is feeling confident and good playing against us, so much so that they have the confidence to play like they are the better team, which, looking at the result of this game, seems like that was indeed the case. And it's very frustrating, because you want to upend that narrative. You want to say that's not the case, that Atlanta's better than what we believe it to be, or what it seems like. But again, it's getting harder and harder to resist those pieces of evidence.
Yeah, you want to be the team that can do both. Mm-hmm. So, the team that can hit you on the counter rapidly with ruthlessness and be clinical. But you also want to be that team that can, just batter teams by keeping the ball and, chance after chance. And so I think we used to be that team. There are some pieces on this team that we can build on. But yeah, I mean, larger part, I think there are a lot of projects. There's a lot of kids that haven't fully developed. There's a lot of, just essentially players that have not proven themselves at the highest level. And yeah, I mean, I think we need more of those that we're saying. The proven winners that have seen it, done it, and yeah, attract that And if a team like LA Galaxy, we're able to figure out that, who've been in the doldrums for a while, even with Zlatan, like I think we should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because yes, it is LA, but I think we're not that far removed from the good reputation. But the longer we wait and continue the infamy, it's just gonna perpetuate and spiral.
Yeah, because
So
you
we
still
to
have,
now.
when announcers talk about Atlanta, they still be like 2018 champions Atlanta United. They'll still say things like that.
Right.
I wonder when eventually it'll just peter out and they that's no longer relevant or something that they care about anymore. In their mind, it's not like a modern piece of history anymore. So it's eventually gonna come. So hopefully we can wrest a little bit more of relevance from the league before that happens.
Exactly. Yeah. The front office needs to act quick, and it's the club, like, to crash out of not only U.S. Open Cup but possibly Leagues Cup, especially when they just what they say, like just
against wildly inferior opponents too.
Exactly, but it's just by what the front office says, like there is such a disconnect.
Kings of the South, baby.
Yeah, exactly. There is no what bravado is there anymore? There used to be so much trash talk that we would give to any team that we played against, and right now it's like you're coming in with your tail between your legs, and trying to say hopeful things, really, at this point. Like, when I hear the Mike Conti call in the stadium, where it's like, we are so back, it's like, we are not. we are definitely not. And you can try to fool the casual fan, but man, like,
and I give it to, in the moment it certainly feels like it, but it you can't look at it like that.
Yeah, but it is that. It's just like, there needs to be some realism in the stadium. There needs to be some realism in the front office. And once they actually, I think, internalize that, because maybe there is delusion. Maybe there is delusion within the club and the front office. It's that, like, it's that high schooler that, or not high schooler, but it's that person that peaked in high school.
Yeah.
And they're like resting on their laurels, and they're like,
you're like
back in
33 and you're wearing a varsity high school jacket, like.
Exactly. I was the high school QB, starter. I got us a championship, but it's like, okay, that was a long time ago now.
It's like the Eddie Murphy stand-up comedy thing. It's like, but what have you done for me lately?
Yep, exactly. And unfortunately, that's what this sport is. It's yes, we were grateful then. We absolutely, we're still supporting. We're still here. Like, it ain't about that, but it doesn't mean that we cannot. Like, we absolutely need to criticize, because if you're okay with this, I mean, I think there's delusion. But anyway, yeah,
something like that.
A good place to wrap up, but yeah, I think everyone that's stuck around and put a comment in the chat, just absolutely thank you.
Like, I'm looking at, like, No Name. I think I may have seen Dopamine before. Let's see. Yeah, I think No Name was the one that I don't recall seeing before, and if I have, sorry, my brain is not great. It's also 12:30, but yeah, like new guys in the chat, thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Lex Zone 6 says we have become the 200th Chicago Fire, the 200th Chicago Fire.
Yeah, 2000s Chicago Fire. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean that's really what it is. It's like, you know, it's yeah, the Chicago Fire used to have some decent players, and yeah, I mean it's just like right now with Shaqiri, it's like that was just embarrassing. Honestly.
That was a terrible. I mean, like, he's good at World Cup, but you know.
Anyway, yeah, I think it's we can wrap it up here, but yeah, you have any final thoughts?
I hit my final thoughts already, so I'm good there.
Cool. All right.
So yeah, basically that's about it. Yeah, basically if you want to sign us off, that'll be it. Okay, well everyone, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's Michael. I'm AJ. Thank you so much for watching. See ya, everybody. Bye.